Hey everybody, welcome back. Trainer Orange here. Today marks the beginning of the first in-game cartridge tournament, the Galar Beginnings Tournament. Now, I believe this is a 3-day tournament with 15 matches a day. I've heard that it's like the Gen 7 Battle Spot tournaments where you could push all the games to Sunday if you were up for 45 games in a day. Anyway, if you've been playing ranked Battle Stadium singles, as you're well aware, Gigantamax Pokemon are not allowed. In this tournament, however, they are. So the question now is, what should you be using now that you have access to all these new Gigantamax Pokemon? If you're not aware, the only real functional difference besides the cool ass looks between a Gigantamax Pokemon and a Dynamax Pokemon is one single move, stab move, that replaces one of the Pokemon's old moves. So that's not that big of a difference. So when you're looking at these Gigantamax Pokemon, you're almost asking yourself a twofold question. One, is this Pokemon good enough to see play in the current metagame? If not, odds are that you should not be running this Pokemon as a Gigantamax Pokemon. Then the second question then becomes, is the Gigantamax move better than the Dynamax move that it would normally have? Is this an upgrade? And if it's not, you probably don't want to use it. So first, you just want to quickly answer that first question. I want to make this a quick guide so you can go, okay, I know exactly what I want to use. I want to get into Galar Beginnings, and I want to use that Gmax that I've been unable to use. It's been burning a hole in my box for the past 2 weeks. Maybe not with that language. Anyway, so let's just break it down. And this is going to be extremely subjective. Feel free to disagree in the comments down below, but I just want to kind of get to the crux of the issue. What are the good Pokemon that have Dynamax forms? And I'm just going to list them off right now, okay? Snorlax, Charizard, Gengar, Korva Knight, Snarl, Duraludon, say that 5 times fast, Sandaconda, and Hatterene. Okay, so that's 8 we got that I think are viable in the current metagame. There are obviously other ones that are borderline. I have up here, I have the, just a scroll down list. Go to Cerebi yourself, take a look at these. Maybe there's something that just stands out to you that, you're going, I know it's not great, but it's cool. I just want to have some fun with this tournament. So I want to run, Flapple or I want to run Centiskorch. I don't really care if I'm going to win. Then, have a look at this page and see kind of what you want to run and just have some fun with it. But if you're looking to put up a good showing, I think those are the 8 you want to stick with. As a kind of just a note, I think there are a few where the Gigantamax move might be borderline good enough to almost push them into viability, and if not, it at least makes them interesting to consider. So the honorable mentions, I would say, first off, I'm going to link these together. I think Dreadnought and Copperaja both have Gigantamax moves that set hazards, which is really interesting. The whole prospect of setting hazards while actually using an attack. I think that's something worth considering. I don't think we've really had that in the past. It's unique. And so maybe taking it into consideration. Hazards are really good right now, especially Stealth Rock, which is Dreadnought. So, maybe those are in your wheelhouse. You want to try something unique that we haven't really seen before. Another one is Lapis. Lapis, her Gigantamax move essentially sets Aura Veil, which, lessens incoming damage, which isn't bad for a Giganta move. It's definitely better than Max Hailstorm, which just calls up hail unless, you're trying to cheese with some, hail dodge strategy, which is, fun. And then the last I would say, and there are a few in the list that I'm going to go over later that have this, but essentially a few of them have trapping moves that are linked to their Gigantamax move. So one of them is Centiskorch, and Centiskorch obviously has not been making an early showing in the metagame, but trapping with your Dynamax move is pretty huge. And I think, you could, if people didn't know it was coming, you could catch them off guard, but you might be able to catch a couple people off guard in your 45 games. But anyway, now that we got those out of the way, I really want to discuss the 8 and where it stands. Is their Gigantamax move worth eschewing their Dynamax move? Is it an upgrade? Is it better? So first off, let's start with Snorlax. Snorlax was just recently released. I believe it has kind of an event going on right now where you can catch it a little bit all over the place. I caught one on my first raid, so it can't be that tough. And his move replenishes berries. Sometimes. And this is what I'm hearing. I'm not sure we know the exact stats. I'm sure someone out there has it. I'm hearing maybe 50% to replenish berries. This is obviously over Max Strike, which just lowers speed. So this is better if you're using berries. So if you want to do some sort of maybe Chesto Rest abuse, where you just get that full healing, and then, your Chesto wakes you up, and then you use your Max Replenish, and then you got the Chesto back, and you can do this again, probably just the one more time. Definitely just the one more time. Is that worth it? Yeah, that's a pretty cool strategy. Could be good. Unfortunately, if it doesn't work, then you're a little SOL on that one. So, and right now, thick fat, I would say thick fat over immunity or gluttony, unless gluttony if you're using another type of berry abuse, maybe like citrus or something like that. That would be what you would use with gluttony, or maybe some other berry, one that raises attack or something like that. Those are the ones you want to use with gluttony. Otherwise, thick fat is in a pretty good spot in this meta. It gives you the ice resist for Darmanitan. It gives you the fire resist for some fire types that are out there right now. So fire types are in a rough spot this gen. So definitely, I would consider an upgrade. Only a side grade if you're not running berries, because the lowering speed, I guess that's something. Anyway, so I think Snorlax is worth running. Let's see if we can see him over here with his new with the tree on him. There he is. There he is. So the next up is Charizard, and I think Charizard is the absolute perfect example of why sometimes you just don't want to run Gigantamax, because the Gigantamax move is a huge downgrade. Here, Wildfire only essentially does fire spin damage. 1/8 HP a turn at the end of the turn, which is nowhere near as good as Max Flare. Max Flare sets Sun, and then which powers your fire moves, and then on top of that, Charizard has the hidden ability Solar Power. So you're setting your own Sun for solar power that you can then turn around and you can get the Airstream boosts with the solar power buff, and now you're fast and you're doing a ton of damage, and you can slap another, say, Life Orb on top of that, and now you're just running through things. And passing that up just for Wildfire and the 1/8 damage is a huge downgrade. So definitely look far away from Charizard if you're going to bring a Gigantamax Pokemon to this tournament. Next up, I want to talk about Gengar. Gengar is essentially, its Gigantamax moves turns you into a budget. Let me see if we can find him. Yeah, a little fun house over there. Turns you into a budget Mega Gengar. Funnily enough, the other ones I think do damage while they trap. This just traps. Which, if you're aware, Mega Gengar just had I forget the name of the ability right now. But essentially you cannot switch out of it. Arena Trap. No, that's Strike Trio. I'll get it one of these days. So just like Centiskorch, where I was talking about earlier, people are going to expect it, and you can use that to your advantage. You're using Sashgar, and they're expecting the Gigantamax Terror to trap you, or for you to trap them, and you just plot instead. And now they're still looking down the barrel of a Gengar that has a plot up, hasn't maxed yet and has a sash active. So that's a sort of mind game you can play with these specific trapping moves. You can use them to your advantage when people are expecting the trap. And this one is a huge upgrade over Phantasm, which just lowers defense, which unless you're booming, which you're probably not booming, is absolutely useless for Gengar. So Terra is definitely an upgrade. Definitely look to Gengar. Gengar is in a weird spot. I discussed this in one of my earlier videos. I don't think it's amazing right now, but it's pretty good. And maybe this is what it needed to put it over the edge. So look to Gengar if you're, set on using a Gmax Mon. I think that's one of the better ones. Next up, Meowth. You can farm your opponents for money. I'm looking at 500,000. Oh wait, no. You don't get money. Never mind. Actually, next up is Korva Knight. All right. So Korva Knight is Wind Rage, which removes effects, hazards, screen, just kind of removes the field, clears everything out. Unfortunately, this comes over Max Airstream, which is arguably the best Max move. That speed is huge, and to pass that up to just remove hazards and screens and other things, that could come in handy, but if push comes to shove, I'm taking the speed literally every single time. So I would not recommend Korva Knight, unfortunately. Where's he at? Okay, I'm blind today. There he is. Doesn't even look that cool. So definitely don't go to Korva Knight. Anyway, next up, Grimmsnarl, which is a pretty good Pokemon in the current metagame, but it's typically used for prankster purposes, for setting screens, for prankster T-Wave, other things. You're not really using offensive Grimmsnarl. Some people have, and some people have had success with it, but it's not the most common set, and I don't know if I can really recommend using it right now. I haven't tried it myself, but Grimmsnarls, which I've also heard rumors that it's not 100%, but Gmax News will apply Yawn, which, if you've ever played against an Umbreon, is one of the most annoying things in the world. And on the flip side, it's over Max Darkness, which lowers special defense. So this could be another situation where there's almost no reason not to have the Max Grimmsnarl or the Gigantamax Grimmsnarl, because the Gmax move is just so much better than the normal one, or at least gives you some utility where the normal one's not really giving you anything, especially for Grimmsnarl, who just looks thick. Look at that boy. So, if you have it, bring it. I can frankly tell you I've played dozens of matches with Grimmsnarl and never even came close to wanting to demax it. It's just the last thing in your mind when you have a Grimmsnarl out. But, you never know, and it's always better to have the option than not have the option. So next up, Duraludon, the skyscraper boy, okay? So his is Depletion, which essentially is Smite wrapped onto the attack, which goes over Wormwind, which lowers the opposing pocket monster's attack. I mean, they're comparable. I think it's almost like a side grade. I'm not sure, depending on what someone's using against you. Knocking down the PP of a 5 PP move, it can be big. It could win a game, but I'm pretty sure lowering attack is more likely to win you the game than that kind of niche scenario. So, not sure I would recommend going out of your way to get it. If you have it and you just like the cool look of the skyscraper, well, go for it. So next, Sandaconda. Again, just like one of the earlier ones, Charizard, I think it was. Borderline usable as a Pokemon. Theorymon has seen a lot of success with Sash Sandaconda. And everybody loves how this one looks. God, that's ridiculous. Anyway, so Sash Anaconda to set rocks, but you never really want to Gmax or Dmax your suicide lead. It's just kind of a waste of it. There's going to be opportunities. I've done it with Sastral, where you're just like, this is the best move. I can't switch out. I need the bulk, and the attack will get me over the top. So I need to do it here, unfortunately. So that's another one that, you just not going to want to D-Max. But the interesting thing is it definitely has one of the better G-Max moves. Like we discussed with Scorch, has a trapping move, Sandblast. Damages over 4 to 5 turns, and traps. That's actually pretty huge. That's good. And on a Pokemon that is seeing some fringe play, unlike Scorch, which I don't think I've seen once. And Quake is pretty bad. Raises special defense. If you're using this on a non-bulky Sandaconda, you don't care about that special defense. So this is something you might honestly want to consider. You trap something that doesn't want to be on you. You get the SR up for free, and then you do what you will. Probably not the best use though, still, but it's good. It's not terrible. And last up, Hatterene, which is also seeing a bit of fringe play. A lot in Trick Room. Trick Room setter. Got pretty good typing. Doesn't look cool. Gmax might just confuses. So, and confusion has been nerfed. So, and Misty Train, it can actually make use of Misty Train, kind of, in that it actually gets, unlike Togekiss, which if you see my prior videos, you know that Misty Train is absolutely useless for Togekiss. But this can help Hatterene dodge some status effects. But yeah, the confusion, I don't know. Another situation where maybe you're looking at this kind of like a side grade. But anyway, so if I were to say out of these, we're only looking at 8, and as you just heard, not many of them are great, unfortunately. A lot of side grades and a lot of downgrades. So if you want to have a little bit of fun with this, but you also want to bring something good, my recommendations would be Snorlax with some sort of berry abuse. It would be Gengar with Terror, which is pretty good. Or it would be probably Sandaconda. I would go with one of those 3, and then I would just pretend the rest don't exist. And also, keep an eye out for what your opponent's bringing. If you scroll down this list, take a good look at this list before you jump into this tournament, so that you know exactly what you're looking for. Like, if your opponent has a Kingler, they're messing around. They're trying to bring the Gmax Kingler with his beard. If you see an Orbeetle, the Gmax is coming. If you're seeing a Colossal, the Gmax is coming. So keep that in mind. Have this list up while you're playing, just so you can kind of get ahead of the game and you're not caught off guard when, Orbeetle does whatever Orbeetle does, which applies gravity, in case you were wondering. I got a full set of notes. Most of these are really bad. But, so just make sure you're prepared, and, like I said, I think one of those 3 are your best options. So anyway, good luck with the tournament this weekend. I'll be playing, I'll be uploading my battles. I'll probably be streaming at some point. I'll link my Twitch in the description down below if you want to watch me go. Knowing my past few days records, I'll probably go 23 and 22 over 45 games. So if you want to watch me, swing and miss just as often as I swing and hit, come on down. The link will be in the description down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Comment if you disagree. If you think I'm missing something important on these Gmax, if you disagree with my assessment of side grades and downgrades, or if there are any you would add to the list of 8, just leave it down below. Anyway, good luck in the tournament.